Hey guys, welcome to PSG Audio's YouTube channel. Today we're going to be discussing the digital mixer 1608. Let's check it out. You'll notice that you have the channel 1 fader where you can adjust the fader, solo it, everything accordingly. To your left of your screen and to your right of screen you have your main left and right output. Those will retain throughout the various tabs at the top of each one of these pages, so if you need to access that, you can. Now back to the Overview tab. In the upper left-hand corner of the Overview tab, you'll see you can turn the polarity on and off. You can also turn on or off your delay compensation, and then you can set that with the slider to the right accordingly. Now keep in mind the digital gain is different than the trim knob on your digital mixer. The trim knob adjusts the input level signal before the analog to digital conversion. The digital gain will adjust that level after it has been converted to the digital domain. Now below that to the left, you have your DCA groups. You have 8 of them on your digital mixer. If this channel is routed to any one or a combination of those would be highlighted here. To the right of that, the same thing applies for your mute groups. Now down below that to the left, you have your EQ. This is a visual representation of whatever your EQ setting is, and we'll show you how to do that a little bit later. Here you can also turn it on or off. Now down below that, you've got your compressor. There you can turn it on and off, and it will also give you a visual representation of the compressor setting and what's going on within the compressor. To the right of that, the same follows for the gate. Visual representation on and off. You can see what's happening with your noise gate. To the right of that, you have 4 auxiliary channels that you can route any particular channel to. So in channel 1 as an example, we can slide the fader and that will send the level accordingly to each one of those if you so choose to do that. Down below that, we have the same thing for your effect sends. You can go down to your effect sends and you can adjust those according to the various effects. We'll show you how to set both of those up in a later video. Now keep in mind, every tab you'll see has a reset button that applies to that particular tab. In the overview, if you choose to reset this, you can select the reset button and get back to its default settings. This is a configuration window. Let's start by changing the name from the default channel 1 to what we actually have going into channel 1 of our digital mixer, and that is a kick drum. Here you can press in here to go to your keyboard. You can go back and forth between numbers and letters. And then of course you can go back between lowercase and uppercase. So let's name this kick to represent our kick drum. From here we're going to say OK and then OK again. And now you'll notice that the kick drum name is represented both in the config window as well as the fader over to the left. To right of that, we've got our link button. Let's say, for example, you want to run a stereo signal in like a stereo keyboard, and you want to go into channels 1 and 2. If you hit the link button, that will automatically link channels 1 and 2 together. The same thing if you went into 3 and 4, it would link 3 and 4, 4 and 5, and so on. Below that, you can adjust your polarity by either normal or reverse. And to the right of that, you can turn phantom power on and off if you have a microphone that requires that. Down below that again, you can turn your delay compensation off, and you can adjust that via feet, milliseconds, or meters. And then also to the right of that, again, another opportunity to adjust your digital gain. If you want this channel routed to your main left and right, as you will most of the time, you simply select that or deselect it. Down below that, you can assign your DCA as well as your mute groups. You simply select the DCA channel you want it to be assigned to, and the same thing accordingly for mute. And then this channel will now be part of those particular groups, depending on your workflow. Here we are in the EQ window. I'm going to adjust a lot of the parameters throughout the EQ to demonstrate for you how you would go about doing that. One of the first things you can do is you can turn on your real-time analyzer to get a visual idea of the frequencies that particular track that we're going to be applying the EQ to, what frequencies it utilizes the most. And we're going to turn that off and we're going to start adjusting our EQ. Let's start off by adjusting some low frequencies. Let's turn that on and let's touch our gain section and adjust that. And once we've got that selected, we can use our dial to turn that up or down. However, if we want to use the touch feature, we can do that by sliding back and forth. As we go forward, I'm going to use the dial. Now you can see the visual representation of where the frequency now is being adjusted across the frequency spectrum, as well as our Q. We can decide whether we want a very wide Q or a very narrow Q. Again, you can see as we move the frequency back and left and the gain, you can dial that in until you get the sound that you're looking for in the low frequencies. Now let's bump up to some lower mids and see what we get there. Let's do the same thing again. Let's adjust our gain, and you can see the effect of that setting. Again, we brought the gain down a little bit. As well as adjusting our Q, we can narrow that up or widen it, whatever we want to do, until we get the sound that we're looking for. And then we're going to adjust our frequencies until we find right where it's just right to adjust the frequencies for this particular track the way we want it. Let's continue to adjust up the frequency spectrum, and we'll go about this and adjust our gain, our frequency, and our Q until we find the setting that we're looking for. Now let's finish this off by applying a high pass filter and choosing the frequency that we want to high pass. After that, we can turn on our real-time analyzer and then see how things have changed since we've now adjusted our EQ. Do you see the two little arrows pointing at each other and the square box up there? If you just tap that, that will minimize that window and allow you to go to the next one. Thanks for watching this video. For more information, I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. Always remember to subscribe to this channel so you can find out more information about this product as well as our other products. And please follow us on all social media platforms as PSG Audio. Until next time.